Benedict's really the only leading man where they didn't do a BBL transformation lip filler to him. They just said, show up to set, Benny, and start filming. Like, where was the makeup?
There's no romance. What's the point? Just kidding. Maybe.
Darling,
Yo, it's Anne, aka Antagonist. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all things books, movie, and TV with an emphasis on romance. We're talking Bridgerton today. Can you tell I'm excited? Can you tell I'm excited? Are you excited too? Because we've been fiending. We've been fiending for content. They've been keeping us in the well. Dry January, dry December. They didn't want to give us nothing. But Valentine's Day came and we got a sneak peek. We got a video. We got stills. And I am pumped. I don't want to speak too soon, but I genuinely think season 4 has the potential to be the best season. Oh, sorry. Yes. Am I getting ahead of myself? Yes, I am. Should I not be doing that? Probably not. Am I getting my hopes up too high? I don't want to talk about it, but I just have a good feeling. And when I have a good feeling, I want to run with it. Because they gave me those sneak peeks, and as somebody with a hyperfixation, what you think I'm just going to sit on that and not think about it? You think I'm not going to overanalyze everything? Do you even know me? I decided I'm going to explain why season 4 has the potential to be the best season of Bridgerton. And how am I going to do that? By ranking all the other Bridgerton seasons and talking about their biggest strengths and weaknesses. Strengths as in what made the show versus weaknesses, so things that took away from my enjoyment as a viewer. And then elaborating on how season 4 might fix all that. Ooh, big disclaimer, this is just my personal opinion, therefore it's correct. Let's get into it. In last place, we have season 3 of Bridgerton. Chill out, I'll be nice, I'm gonna be nice, and I'm gonna start with the pros. One of the biggest strengths of season 3 was its humor and comedic timing. It was like one of the first where they had really nailed the comedic timing, especially when it came to the Featheringtons. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't hated the Featheringtons as much as like the general Bridgerton fan base. Like, I am a Portia Featherington apologist through and through. I just think the Featherington storylines have been poorly edited and woven throughout the show at times, specifically in other seasons, but like, be so serious. What would the show be without them? I know some of y'all are going, yes, and I would like to know and I would like to see it, but I am not one of those people. Which brings me to the other strength of season 3, which was the family dynamics, or specifically the Featherington family dynamics. Not so much the Bridgerton family dynamics. We'll get to that. When it came to the dynamics between the Featherington ladies, I was here for it. I feel like that was the one part of season 3 where they really stuck the landing. Like, those two scenes between Portia and Penelope are hands down some of my favorite scenes on the entire show. Now on to the cons and the weaknesses. The romance wasn't hitting, y'all. No, sir. I can't lie. I can't tell a lie. I didn't see the chemistry between Penelope and Colin, and I'm convinced that they didn't even want me to see it. I'm convinced. Because the press tour, the interviews, that gave chemistry. The show, there's no way they wanted me to see it. Because with the little amount of time that we spent with Colin and Penelope as a couple, there's no way. And just like the way they edited their romantic scenes, crazy. Like, the actors could only do so much. I always go back to the balloon scene because that was the most egregious example of editing and direction failing everybody. Because what were we supposed to take away from that scene? What were we supposed to take? The fact that I had to look it up scared me. My next weakness of the season is Colin as a male lead. I think my biggest gripe with him as a male lead was that his motivations were too scattered. The writers never truly let us in Colin's head, you know? Going into the season, there were 2 questions I wanted answered about Colin's character because we had been following him. But I wanted 2 things to be answered. 1, what were his motivations as a character? And 2, what were his romantic motivations, specifically towards Penelope? And I feel like the answer to those questions would just change to whatever served the plot at that time. To top it all off, y'all, even though they were disappointing me episode by episode, I still thought that they were gonna flip it and reverse it at the final hour and show us the letters between Penelope and Colin. They're gonna show us those letters they had been writing back and forth during the travels to showcase, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. Colin has been liking her this entire time. Plot twist. He just didn't know it. He didn't clock it. But did we get that? Did we see the letters? No, he read them silently. He read them silently. Yeah, thank you. That's great. That's great. We love that. That's just so great. That's so great. And they're both writers. They're like, I'm gonna get mad about it. Don't look away. Another big weakness, there was some issues with the distribution of the side plots. I actually like the side plots in season 3 better than the side plots of season 2, for example. However, I don't think they were distributed properly. I don't think they were used effectively to converge with the themes of the main plot. Like Eloise and Cressida were very much related to Penelope and Colin. Same thing with the Featheringtons, that's still related to Penelope and Colin. But some staples like Lady Bridgerton, Lady Danbury, even Francesca felt really far removed from what was going on with Pollen. It just felt like things could have been a lot more cohesive, and rather than taking away from the main plot and, taking away from our couple, it should have added and bolstered their storyline. Next, we have season 1. So season 1 of Bridgerton has a lot of strengths. First of all, the season was beautiful. Beautiful. Stunning. Gorgeous, gorgeous gowns. Just the costumes, the aesthetic, the music. Set the tone. It set the tone. And another pro is that I feel that season 1 had the sharpest writing from all the seasons so far. Every scene, every storyline just came together. Every scene we saw, its purpose was clear, it was evident, and thematically sound. Everything led to the overall theme of the season. The overall lessons that our main characters were learning were reflected or mirrored in these side plots. And I think the show has yet to be able to replicate that thematic through line through all the plots in the show. It's the blueprint. And I'm not gonna lie, it's factually the best season of Bridgerton. Yeah, I'm sorry. The girls are gonna get upset, but it's true. And what I mean by that is, if I was a teacher and I was giving a grade, Bridgerton season 1 is getting the highest grade because across the board, everything was done well to decent. Just versus I feel like in the other seasons, we have really high highs and extremely low lows. Low. It's definitely what Bridgerton season 1 has going for it in terms of strengths. And I know people love to give the season its lashings, being like, it's boring, it's this, it's that. Not me. Not me. Because y'all are crazy. Y'all forget where you came from. You forget where you came from. And you're being ungrateful. Insulting season 1, that won't be for me. Y'all can do that over there. But as for me in my house, we respect our freaking elders. Please. You forget where you came from. And then for weaknesses, I would say overall, Simon and Daphne as leads are a bit underdeveloped. I don't know, for me, they're just not as memorable. There's still that oomph, that X factor missing from them as characters that I would remember forever, especially in comparison to other leads. They're not a couple that I'm like, I need to check up on. Even though I on paper, I liked everything, but I'm not what's going on? What's tea? Season 1 is bigger than just its leads. And the other con is trigger warning for episode 6. What can I say? Then we have season 2 of Bridgerton. One of the biggest strengths of Bridgerton season 2 is that I will never forget it. I will never forget it. You could turn my brain off. You could take out most of the gray matter. You could have the men in black come try to take out my memory, and I would still remember. But I'm leaving for India, and it's just not far enough. Do you think that there's a corner of this earth you could travel to far away enough to free me from this torment? You are the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires.
How many people were scared? Me too.
Girl, I am quoting line by line, bar for bar, because it's just that insane. Iconic. There's nothing like it. The unhingedness. They're maniacs. This is a strength. Second strength is Anthony's character arc and just the building of a character. I feel like episode 3 of season 2 is a masterclass in how to build a character and shift our POV about somebody. Because when I tell you I hated that man in season 1, hated that man. To the point that when they announced he was going to be the lead for season 2, I was like, please, run it back. I said, no, 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 this can't be it. And they gagged me. They gagged me. Ooh, did they make me eat my words. They made me eat my words for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because favorite Bridgerton character? Yes. Yes. Because I love a character study. I love a character arc. Ooh, it was art. It was art. I could write a whole dissertation about this one. Learn something for this, Bridgerton. Learn. Third biggest strength I'll talk about, which I kind of touched on, is just the iconic lines and just like the language in the season. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. The way they express things. I will humble myself before you because I cannot imagine my life without you. I have loved you at every dance, on every walk, every time we... On to the cons or the weaknesses of season 2. First being the side plots. I'm gonna be so for real. I don't even remember half of the side plots in season 2, but I just knew they were taking up space. And they didn't necessarily relate to the overall theme of the season. Or sometimes it was hard to see the connection. So at times it felt like we were, you know, being taken away from the fun to like deal with stuff that was happening on the side. Another con is that my girl Kate Sharma was done dirty. Yes, yes. I haven't read all the Bridgerton books, but the 2 I read are The Viscount Who Loved Me and When He Was Wicked, which is Francesca's book. And I had specifically read The Viscount Who Loves Me before season 2 aired. So I was looking forward to learning more about Kate and seeing her backstory portrayed on screen. Did I get that? No. And I'm not a book truther. I'm not one of those people who's like, I need to see book to screen adaptation because I don't really have such attachment to the Bridgerton books because I've only been introduced to them via the show. So I was not married to her backstory in the book. I didn't even think they needed to keep the same backstory, but they needed to show it to us. It felt like Kate's perspective was often limited, and I don't know why. She has such an interesting story with her father and her biological mother passing away, her being in this adoptive relationship with her stepmom, Mary. I think there was so much there, and it didn't feel like we really delved into that until the 8th episode. Like, I understood her because I also have, you know, eldest daughter trauma, but they could have delved into that a lot more, and I would have loved to seen it. If they gave even a crumb of the character work that they did with Anthony to Kate, I would have been satisfied. But they didn't even do that, which sucks because that would have added even more to their romance. I do think, even though I really like them as a couple, I do think on the show, a lot of their compatibility was implied. And I think that if you showed more of Kate's background, them coming together as characters would have made even more sense. It was really a missed opportunity, especially that was 2 seasons in a row of the female lead being less developed than the male lead, and I didn't like how that pattern was continuing. The last weakness of season 2 is that it was messy. There were like 0 moments of relief in that season. Like, you felt like you just ran a marathon and a sprint at the same time. It's like slow burn, but also we're getting no relief. Like, dragging that love triangle till episode 6, you're trifling. And no wedding? Shondaland, you will pay for your crimes. You will pay for your crimes.
Electric chair.
And lastly, honorable mention, even though it's not technically a season of Bridgerton, it is my favorite season of Bridgerton, and that is Queen Charlotte. Y'all know, y'all already know, I'm a Queen Charlotte truther, through and through. Strengths? Charlotte and Agatha as characters, to me, super interesting. They're the most, to me, compelling female leads that I've seen on Bridgerton, and I love that we followed them throughout. I felt like that's not necessarily been the truth in the show. I do think season 3 did follow Penelope closely, and she's probably the only female lead that's gotten the spotlight in that way, but I think Queen Charlotte was able to do that as well, and I really enjoyed it. I had so much fun watching those 2 female characters with such strong personalities. Another pro, the romance. Charlotte and George, I weep. I weep every day thinking of them. Yeah, I weep. They make me believe in love. They make me believe in love again. Like, I don't know how else to say it. The devotion they have for one another. I came into the season thinking, oh, insta love is kind of cute. And then it was giving, oh, she falls first because like he's not really checking for her. But then they flipped it in reverse in episode 4 and they said he falls first and he falls harder. It was made for me. The plot evolution was made for me, okay? Because we love a simp. We love a simp. We love a pining man. And they did that. They did that with Georgie. And I think... It's just so good. It's just so good. I don't know how to speak. Another thing was the production was really, really well done. I felt like the directing, the editing, the music, the imagery, it felt more like almost like a film rather than just like a TV show. And it was just like visually captivating in all senses of the show. And lastly, it's also going to get points for quotes. George, I will stand with you between the heavens and the earth. I will tell you where you are. Do you love me? I love you. From the moment I saw you trying to go over the wall. Please. You think I can't quote the entire scene? Don't dare me. If this camera wasn't overheating, I would go on, okay? The acting, so good. I'm singing its praises. Let's get to the weaknesses. A weakness of the show was its pacing. The show was not afraid to let us sit in the like torture of uncomfort and boredom that Charlotte was feeling. And I think that's a brave choice to let your audience feel that. But I still think there are ways to do this without actually boring your audience. There were a lot of repetitive scenes, repetitive montages that could have been showcased more effectively, and that wouldn't have slowed down the pacing. Off the top of my head, I remember episode 2, episode 4, and episode 5 had some pretty substantial pacing issues. I would say, like, not to brag, I think I have a pretty good attention span, so I'm more tolerant to slower, long things, but I don't think that that's necessarily a good thing. I do think you should keep your audience intrigued at all times. Also, I think the story itself was trying to deal with a lot of dark topics, and one of them being racism, and I don't think they're equipped to really work with that, because Bridgerton is a fictional world that sometimes likes to tap into reality, and that makes it hard to really understand what's going on. Like, with Charlotte living in Germany where Germans weren't racist, like it just didn't, okay. And like when she comes to England, like they're the only, like if you think about it for even more than 2 seconds, it don't really make sense. Also, like there were Asian characters that popped up. How does that work? Like Asian racism, not the same as black, like again, if you think about it for more than 2 seconds, you get lost, and the show got lost in the sauce with that as well. And also, it's contained. I would say as a story, it's more contained. We're following like 4 to 5 characters max, versus Bridgerton as the show in all the seasons is just really big. It's really, the world is expansive. There's people around. It just feels more lived in, versus the Queen Charlotte story is very contained, which I like a contained story, but when comparing it to the main show, it can feel less exciting, versus like in Bridgerton, you're like, ooh, I'm going to see all these people, see all these things. It's just a little bit more bright and lived in. So now that I've done my rankings, why do I think season 4 has the potential to be the best season yet, above everything I've just talked about? Well, let's establish the 4 core things that make Bridgerton Bridgerton. First thing is the characters, specifically the leads, seeing them compelling, likable characters that we want to follow. 2, the costumes, the aesthetics, the whole nines, all that. Just dropping us into this fantastical period piece is just super important for the immersion. It's iconic. 3 is the family dynamics, specifically the Bridgerton family dynamics. We care that these people have 8 kids who are all different and do different things and interact with each other in such interesting ways. And that's a really big part of why Bridgerton is the show that it is. And then the last thing, that one goes without saying, is the romance. It's the main thing. It's honestly why we're there. But all 4 components are the core of the Bridgerton show. And each season tends to have weakness in one of these areas, tends to not be able to pull through in one of these areas. But I think season 4 is going to score. I think season 4 is going to do all 4, okay? So 1, with the characters. Usually our female lead and our male leads are not equally developed. It's usually one who's the star. I've just explained. In season 3, it was Penelope by a landslide. In season 2, it was Anthony. In season 1, they were a little bit more equal, but mostly Simon got the backstory and development as a character, and not so much Daphne. In this one, I think we have the potential to have more of an equal playing field with the 2 characters. We've been following Benedict for some time now. That's not an excuse to the writers to like not give him an arc or anything. Like I still think he should get as much effort and introspection as I think they gave Anthony in season 2 or Simon in season 1. But I think that's going to work. And then Sophie, I think Sophie has the potential to be the greatest of the greats. I am going to tell you why. I have not even read the books, and I still believe. One, I think Sophie is inherently an underdog that everyone could relate to. I think class is one of those universal acknowledgments that people can understand. Not everyone can relate to class issues, but I think everyone can understand it. It's something that people can wrap their minds around. It's not as abstract as maybe some other hardships that people go through. And I think that's going to make her easily likable, easy to root for. And also, I don't know, just the way Jess Brownell was describing Sophie's character throughout the press tour just gives me a lot of hope. I think Yeren is gonna bring it to Sophie's character.
Sophie, you know, she is based in a Cinderella trope, but she is no damsel in distress. She is someone who has chess moves and is always thinking 2-3 steps ahead. So she's absolutely going to throw Benedict for a loop. And Yeren just brings this incredible feistiness, humor, and vulnerability to the role. She is the only person who could play this role, and we're so lucky to have her.
Just describing Yeren bringing a feistiness, a fire, humor to her character just gives me a lot of hope. I feel like those are the 3 things we want in a female lead. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I think it's just going to be so good. And from what we're seeing, when it comes to costume and aesthetics, it looks like we're going back to the drawing board. We're going back to our roots, and I think that's going to be great. I can't wait to see what kind of songs they pick too. I think it's going to be so cool. It's going to be amazing because we're going to get to see another side of Bridgerton as a show, because we're not only following the aristocracy, we're going to be following the working class. And I think that's going to be so, so interesting. Third, Bridgerton family. Benny is a family man. He is in every sibling's business. He can always be found messing around with the kids, everything. He's always in the family. That man is a family man. So we're going to be able to see the Bridgerton family dynamic even more, I think, this season than any other season. I also think because Sophie is going to be working at the Bridgerton house at some point, that's going to make us even more immersed in the Bridgerton house. Like, we're going to spend so much time there. I think I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's going to be so cute. I can just picture all the different dynamics that they could be playing with that. That's just delicious. And I think it's just going to be so cool for us to see the Bridgerton family from the perspective of, you know, the servants or the help. I don't know what the proper term is, but like the working class. I think it's just going to be even more interesting. I'm so excited. And last, romance. Do I need to even explain this one? Look at the material. Look at the material. Look at the material. Enough said. I don't think I need to explain how this one's going to eat. Also, Benedict is a poet. The man is a poet. So I'm expecting the best lines I've ever heard. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Thanks for watching this video, guys. How did you feel about the stuff you've seen so far for season 4? Are you excited? Are you as excited as me? Maybe not possible. Are you thinking of reading the book in the meantime? Because I definitely am. Because your girl has a long way to wait. 2026? 2026? Yeah. I'm going to read it. I'm definitely going to do a video on my thoughts and more stuff as things come out. I want to do the ramp up because I've never started from the beginning stages for a Bridgerton season on YouTube. So I think it'll be really fun. Please let me know what you think in the comments. If you agree, disagree. What are your hopes for season 4? Ooh, we might do a video on that. I feel like that would be fun. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
Darling.